Okay, so in this video, I want to share a little bit about my intention and motivation to create this Ableton Live template that I called DOWNTEMPO SHAMANICO. And it's a follow-up basically to my deep shamanic journeys Ableton Live template and loop pack that was more intended for meditative music, for sound healing journeys, for healing sessions and stuff like that. And then people reached out to me and said that they would love actually to use it for their productions, and if I could do something with more higher BPM and include more elements that actually support the idea of creating something for the dance floor, like slow, electronic, deep journey music. And when I finished another big project, I finally had the time, and I was dedicating 1 month full on for this new template that I'm very happy about and excited to share. And basically, it's not just another loop pack or like another template that's like, you make down tempo. There's a deeper intention and a deeper meaning behind it. The way that I understand music and sound is as medicine. So I believe that everything is frequency, vibration, and energy, and that certain frequencies, certain vibrations, certain sounds can have an effect on our mind, on our body, on our consciousness, on our state of being. So, in other words, you can use music as a very, very powerful tool to help people awaken, to inspire people, to activate something within people, to take them on a deep journey within, to discover something like a deeper layer, to create access to a realm of feelings and visions, and just allow for deep inner exploration, and also for healing, in a sense that you understand healing as wholeness, coming from wholeness, the natural state of everything, harmony, balance, and peace. And then the way that humans have created their way of being is pretty much out of alignment, disconnected from nature, a lot of distorted negative beliefs, very fear-based, and so very disharmonic, you could say. Like, if you see your body as an instrument, then the body is totally out of tune for most people, and music can help us to get back in tune if we use certain vibrations, certain frequencies. First of all, nature sounds are a very good example. So if you are in nature and if you listen to nature sounds, it has an instantly soothing effect. And you might ask yourself, yeah, that's true, but why is that actually? And I believe it's because, first of all, everything in nature is totally in alignment, right? So every being has its place and its purpose, and they don't question the purpose. Like the bird is not asking itself, what would be if I would be a deer or something, and they all know their soul song, they all know their unique vibration and identity, and they just live it, and they all coexist together in harmony. And then also just the manifestations that you find in nature, like the plants and the trees and all that stuff, they are all reflections of the cosmic, universal, divine blueprint, like an expression of the beauty, of the intelligence of life. So in essence, what they're emanating is very pure, is very unique, divine, and has such a strong sense of clarity because they don't question their identity and they just radiate and emanate this purity, this truth, you could say, the divine truth, like the principles of life, the natural laws, like those things are very strong and can support us to get back into alignment, because we are nature, we are part of nature, and we can get back into alignment with our inner nature by being in nature and being exposed to nature and nature sounds. So that's one of the main important elements for me in the music, is organic and natural sounds to establish this connection again, right? So especially if people don't have access because they're in lockdown right now, or they live in a city and it's really far or difficult to get to a beautiful quiet place in nature, then music can help to reconnect, and also intention, I think, is really, really important. So whatever intention you have behind the music, it will be carried in the song or in the track, because I think it's a multidimensional expression, and sound waves can be a carrier for intention, which is another wave. Like thoughts are like electromagnetic impulses, right? They also vibrate, and I think if you have the intention to create music that is healing or that is uplifting or inspiring people or opening their heart or reconnecting them with nature, then that's the effect that you will get, or like that will people experience. So yeah, I just wanted to give you like a little background, like what is my intention, and this is also the same for the pack here. So I wanted to offer something that is deeply connected to my own frequency and vibration, and the way that I work with music as a tool to create healing within myself, to create something soothing, something expanding, something heart opening, and something mystical, that just makes me receptive to listen to a bigger truth or voice within me, and then just reconnects me with the beauty and the mystery of life, and to be in a state of honor and gratitude for the gift that we have being on this planet right now in this body, even though we are in very challenging times, everything is shifting. And again, music can be a catalyst for this shift as well. It can be a big support. So yeah, that being said, let's dive into the pack and let's have a look like actually what you find in there. So as you can see, there's a couple of groups here, and for beginners, like my idea was to, in general, like I want to empower people and to demystify the idea that music production is like complicated or something like that, right? So I want to allow people, no matter if they're beginners or advanced creators, that they have like an instant access, and they can instantly, intuitively use what I offer in order to create something that might support them in order to express themselves, or to create something for other people to journey with. And so this is my intention, and I find it's really helpful, and really a quick way to do that is working with loops in the session view in Ableton Live. And so I will go a little bit into the basics. So for the more advanced producers, bear with me and keep in mind that you also started at some point. And so for the people who see this for the first time or who are pretty new to Ableton, let me give you like a little introduction and an explanation behind what you actually see here and how this works, right? So basically what we have here, what we are looking at here is the session view. This is one of the two main perspectives you can have in Ableton. And this is the one that you need in order to work with the template, to just explore it and play with it. And then there's another view, which is called the arrangement view. And you can switch between the views here on the right top. Right, if you click on this circle here with the lines, then you can switch into the arrangement view, which is like a linear view from left to right, a timeline that you are maybe familiar with in other music software. And this is if you want to create a piece of music in a linear fashion, so that you have something you can then export and other people can listen to it like a final song. But what I used here is the session view, and the session view allows us to play very intuitively with those loops. And when I say loops, I mean those clips here. So if you have a look here, those are all groups, except the first one, kicks, is not a group. It's a single channel because it has only one channel. And in groups, like this one here, this one says bass lines, and you can tell that it's a group because it has those diagonal lines here, those markings, and you don't see actually any names of the clips. And you can also tell it's a group because it has this circle here with those horizontal lines. And if I click on it, it will open up the group. And now you see that the group which says bass lines has actually two channels in them. So one of these columns here are called channels. And you can imagine like this would be like the mixing console in the studio. If you would have like an analog mixing console, each channel represents one source of audio or one element in a track or one sound. And so you have the channel here, and this is the volume of the individual channel. Here you can make things louder and quieter. And then what you have here, those are individual clips. And you can see that each clip has a little play symbol in front of it, right? So if I just click play here, you will see nothing happens because none of those clips is active yet. So I press stop here. But let's say if I want to listen to this bass line, which is basically like a very low frequency sound that you need for your groove. So if I play just here, click play. Oh, the volume here is down. I have to turn this groove volume up. And then you hear the bass sound, right? And if you double click on this clip, it will show you an enlarged version. This is the sample view window, and you see actually the waveforms. And you see it's a loop, so that means it repeats, right? So I set this up that everything is looping and repeating. And if you want to stop it to play, you click stop here on those stop buttons, and then it stops playing. And you see this one keeps going because this is like the main arrangement play section. And let's say if we have like a kick here, and I have two options to choose from, like soft kicks and hard kicks, depending on the style that you are looking at. You can click play, right? And now this kick is playing. And now I can add another bass line. So now the kick and the bass are playing together. And you can really just, you know, explore, play with them. And then if you want to stop everything, you stop here. And so basically each of those clips, as they are called in Ableton, each of those colorful boxes here, they contain another piece of audio, which I recorded basically. And the whole concept of this template is that it's meant to be used in a experimental, intuitive way, right? So, as I said, you don't have to know anything about music production or harmony or whatever, and you can just play around with it and just enjoy, the act of creating, of blending sounds together and creating something in the moment. And before we have a go at this, let me just explain you why I chose those elements and how I then work with it. So what I try to put together is basically a selection of all the main elements that I use in my productions, right? So, of course, you have like the basic elements that you find in any electronic music track, like kicks, right? The bass drums, the bass lines, the bass sounds. And then you have the synth sounds, synth melodies, and synth pads. And this is pretty much standard. And then in addition to that, I have instruments, and those are more or less like native instruments, right? So those are not synthetic instruments. Those are acoustic world instruments, or instruments you would find in South and Mesoamerica and in the Caribbean, like the kalimba, the marimbola, xylophone, and then flutes, stuff like that. And this will add the organic and the natural feel to the tracks. And then a very important element for me is the ambience and the atmosphere, because, as I said, for me, it's really important to create something that feels very natural and very organic and has this sense of mysticism to it, right? So that's why I wanted to include a lot of atmosphere sounds. And this is also usually how I would start, right? So I would start, let's say, with the mood, right? So we have like nature sounds here, and those are high quality field recordings of sounds in the jungle and in the forest and stuff. So, you can choose between day and night. Then we have water sounds, different intensities of water. And I always include water because water is connecting us with our emotions. So I really feel it is very supportive and helpful to always have some form of water in my productions, so that whoever is listening to it instantly feels connected to their inner landscape and their emotions. So maybe let's see what we have here. Water stream light, maybe. Okay, let's turn off the kick and the bass. Yeah, so this one, water stream light, it's just a recording of a water stream. I would totally use that like this. And then maybe let's say we want to create like a night scenario. Maybe the frogs. Okay, and now we have already the atmosphere. So this will tell us a little bit about where the story takes place, somewhat in the jungle in the night. And then there's another section that I really like, and those are the atmosphere sounds. So those are like real nature sounds, but then those sounds here, they are imitating atmospheres, but they are like more like an effect sound, right? So they are like altered in a way that sounds maybe a little bit psychedelic, or that you can use in order to create your atmosphere, or if you want to have transitions in your performances and stuff like that. So maybe we start just with very intuitively, right? So you can just click on anything and just see how it sounds. You know, let's see the voice of the forest. How does that sound? Okay, interesting. Right, and then we have like some chime sounds. And here we have wooden chimes and metal chimes, so you can choose if you want it to be more dark or more bright. Right, so this would be more bright. And then we have like those sounds that imitate like natural sounds, like those birds, for instance. And then we have some instrumental atmospheres, for instance, like the flute here. Okay, and then let's see. The next element that I would choose is a drone sound. So drones are like one note elements, or like, let me stop this for now. So drones are like a sound carpet, and the function that I use them for is to create a sense of grounding, because they're usually very low in the octave, but also they create like a hypnotic, trancey kind of element. So they help us to ground, but also to get into this hypnotic state. So let's see what we have here. For instance, the Anki pad maybe. Right, if I solo this, you click on the S button, you can solo a single sound. Okay, so now we have drones. So now the atmosphere is pretty much taken care of, right? It's pretty like earthy, jungly, in the night, very mysterious. And now we can find like a synth pad that is supporting that. So the synth pads are mostly chord progressions that evoke emotions, right? I mean, it's pretty emotional already, but then the synth pad is taking it to the next level, and the pad is like a sound carpet. It can be textural or it can be harmonic, melodic, but it's just something like a layer in the background that creates feelings and warmth and stuff. So let's see what we have here with the pad sections. I'm going to turn down the drone a little bit because actually I want it to be more in the background. So minus 15. Yeah, I like this one for now. Okay, and now we can actually see how this sounds with the beat, right? So the whole idea is you can totally make it ambient. You don't need any beat at all. But you can also just add some elements that you would find in any down-tempo, slow, house track, whatever. And the tempo here is 80 BPM. Of course, you can change it. So I can show you, for instance, if I go up to 90, because everything is looped and everything is warped, they stay in the same pitch. They just go up in tempo. So now we have 90 BPM and I can play a kick. And a bass line. And then I could add some melodies. Let's see what we have here. We have low melodies and high melodies. Let's try a different drone here. And then you can add some percussion sounds as well, and there's a different options to choose from. I have like tribal percussions and organic percussion loops, and those are very full, rich loops, and they are to create more dynamic as your track progresses. And then you can add more low percussions, you know, like frame drums or drums from Cuba, the bata drum, or Venezuelan percussions or African percussions. You know, and this is just to play around a little bit. And I think you get the idea, and it's totally up to you. You can use it like completely intuitively. Right now we started with the atmosphere because this is what works for me. I need an emotional connection first to whatever track I'm creating. But you can also start with the beat. It's if that's something that you prefer, right? If you want to have like a kick first and a bass line. And then maybe some percussions. Right, and then maybe a synth pad. And then one of the shakers. So those percussion sounds, they're all very organic and almost like ceremonial. And in general, you can already hear that I love to put emphasis on ambient elements in the music that I create and that I share with people. Like you can add like a frame drum, shamanic drum. And then let's see if we want to add an instrument. What we have here. Yeah, and this way you can basically jam and create, like your song or like your sound journey. And you can do that like pretty much in the moment, on the fly. And nothing is being recorded and it's just for the moment as it is. Or if you actually want to record it and capture it and have it for you to edit and work on later, then it's very easy to do if you record it into the arrangement view that I just showed you. So I'm switching between the views here on top, right? Now I'm in session, and now I'm in arrangement view. And the cool thing about Ableton is that everything that you perform in the session view can be recorded into the arrangement view for you to export it or to work on it later. So that's very easy how that works. All you need to do is arm the record button here. and so on. So now I was just jamming, like playing different clips. And now if I go to the arrangement view, you can see that everything that I've performed is now recorded, and we can now listen back to it. So those are the recordings of the samples that I played in the session view. And those channels that you see here on the right side, they are the same that you see here. Now here they are from left to right, and here they are from top to bottom, but it's the same thing. Right, and now I could edit this, I could remove them, put them to different places. Let's say I want the kick to start earlier and make it go here, and the bass line should start here and go until here. Stuff like that. I can make all the changes, and if I wanted to export it, all I need to do is having this selection tool here, right, and make sure this one is at the very beginning, so at 1, and then this one goes as far as I want it to be, and now everything is highlighted. And now I go to File, Export Audio, set this to master, and then I can choose if I want it to be in MP3 or WAV. And then I click Export. Now I just choose MP3. You can give it a name, whatever, and then you can export it somewhere. And okay, the voice was gone because I was rendering it. And now it has created the audio file, which you can find now. Here it is. Right, so super easy to just jam and record and even export it. And so that's basically the idea. I invite you to play around with it, you know, just intuitively play some clips. And I wanted to let you know that on the channels there's an effect rack for you to play with. So some channels have some extra effects, like this one, the drum bass is a saturator effect to make the kicks sound more fat and nicer. And then the bass line has some compression on it. And then the percussions also have some EQ and saturation and glue compression. And this is just some effects that make it sound more in the mix and fatter and tighter and stuff like that. So for instance, here with the tribal percussions, let's find the whole mix, full mix. So if we use the effects, the first one is the EQ that takes out the bass frequencies. Right, so now you can take off the bottom, bring it back in, And then you have like a filter that takes out the highs. And then you have a little ping pong delay. And another one. Right, so to create more dynamic, you can use these. And then there's a lo-fi bit crusher. To give it like a more washed out sound. And then the favorite DJ effect, fade to gray, which allows you basically to fade out any sound in a very elegant way because it's a delay and the EQ at the same time. Right, so now it's just fading out into infinity. And I can bring it back in. And that's not doing that much actually. And then we have a chorus effect. That is just widening the sound. That makes more sense on pads and melodic elements and vocals and stuff like that. Yeah, and then you find this effect pretty much on every group. I don't know if you can hear it, but the chorus is making it a bit broader, a bit bigger. So yeah, it's really fun to play with those effects, especially like for performing and stuff like that, to make transitions, to make things blend into each other and to create some variety and yeah, just play with those effects and see what works for you. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't want to show you like each sound. I just wanted to give you an idea about my intention behind it and the way that I use it. And I really hope that you enjoy using it as much as I enjoyed creating it. And yeah, feel free to send me anything that you did with it. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you for creating music and sounds that are inspiring and uplifting, raising the vibration and helping people to reconnect with the earth, with nature, with their inner nature. And yeah, to put people on a journey back home. That's it for now. See you in another video and thank you a lot for watching and for your support. I'm Steffen Key, and I send you blessings from Costa Rica.